Thank you very much for joining us. I am Ibrahim Sani, doing this live at KL Convention Center, as this is day 3 of the Hasanah Forum in conjunction with the AVPN Conferences 2023. Here we are talking about impact investing, social enterprises and much more. We have covered this on Astro AWANI for the past 2 days, and tonight I'll be speaking with the Managing Director of Khazanah Nasional. We're talking about impact investing and much more importantly, their fund called Dana Impact. Do catch that on Astro AWANI at 10:30 p.m. tonight. For now, we need to talk about not just sustainability and social enterprises and impact investing. We have to talk about everything else end to end when it comes to improving the social lives of everyone. On the set right now with me is Professor Dr. Jack Sim. He is the founder and director of World Toilet Organization. His work includes creating the United Nations sanctioned World Toilet Day that is celebrated every year on November 19th, where 193 UN recognized countries are part of signatories of this particular toilet organization. And this is actually quite an important journey for us to commend, not just to Professor Jack Sim and the folks at World Toilet Organization, but more importantly, how we need to think forward on sanitation, on ensuring that folks around the world, especially the impoverished nations, get clean toilet access. So, Dr. Jack, thank you again for taking the time to speak with us this morning. Let's talk a little bit more about World Toilet Organization. What would be some of the key highlights that you want to share with us when it comes to your organization?
So basically, sanitation, toilet, poop, pee, these are subjects that are very hard to engage and the people tend to neglect it. And when you don't discuss about something, it just disappears from the conversation and the problem accumulates. So there's a 40% of the world population did not have a toilet in 2001. And so I say, we have to put it on media center stage. Originally, they call it a water agenda.
Okay.
But water is like Miss Universe. And if you put the sanitation next to it, it's like a grandmother compete with the Miss Universe.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk about it.
So we make World Toilet Organization sound a little bit like World Trade Organization, and then everybody pay attention. And with the humor, we're able to make people laugh, and then they pay attention. And they are shocked that 2 million people die of diarrhea every year. Nobody talk about it. 30,000 people die of COVID, the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
So when poor people die, nobody care.
Let's talk about the impact, because this conversation over the past 2-3 days here is always talking about not just the outcome, but the impact of it. You were talking about 40% of people not having access to clean water in 2001. Sanitation, pardon me. How has the number improved or disintegrated over the past 20 years?
Yeah, in the last 23 years of our existence, we created a global movement where everybody start to participate, and 2 billion people, more population has increased. However, the total number of people without proper sanitation is now 25%.
Okay.
That means 2.5 billion people have toilet over the last 23 years.
But it's still 25%. We're talking about people that do not have adequate and, more importantly, equitable sanitation.
Yes.
Do you feel that this issue continues to be a revolving issue? What would be some of the challenges that you have encountered over the past 2 decades in running World Toilet Organization?
So we have managed to break the taboo, but the subject still has not become a normal subject. For example, we talk about drinking and eating, we talk about how beautiful the food is, we take photographs, but we never felt comfortable talking about our health, about toilets. So I think that just like past taboo, slavery, Me Too movement, women liberation, slavery, we have to make it normal. Before a taboo is broken, it always sounds like it's not normal. But you see sex revolution and all that, it's become normal. We have to make talking about it normal, then we will demand, and then there will be a marketplace supply.
Now, what you're looking for is the normalization of the conversation of poo, pee, sanitation, flushing,
Yes.
clean water access. Do you feel that that whole normalization of these terms and bringing this conversation to the forefront is gaining traction around the world, or do you feel that some areas of some parts of the world are still facing issues, even addressing this openly?
Yes, so over the years, we have got celebrities like Matt Damon, Coldplay, Jay-Z, Akshay Kumar, Salman Khan, Amitabh Bachchan. Everybody is joining. So that is very good. Prime Minister Modi, we worked together in India since 2007, and now he built 110 million toilets in India under the Clean India mission, Swachh Bharat. And President Xi Jinping is now the toilet champion of China toilet revolution. So the two biggest countries has created a movement themselves by the top leader. In Nigeria last year, they hosted our World Toilet Summit, and the president of Nigeria is graced the location, and the Minister of Water Resources is the champion. So, and then in Brazil, we have the Senate voted to have privatization of their wastewater treatment plant, because 50% of all the waste, human waste, are not treated in Brazil, and they don't have money to invest. So we lobby for a change of law, and now the privatization brought $10 billion into Brazil wastewater treatment plant. So the lobbying and the advocacy are very effective. However, let's just take a situation of Malaysia public toilet.
Yeah.
Other than the highway, which is very clean, all the other toilets is still not good,
Especially public school toilets, actually.
Yes. So we have, why is it that we didn't talk about it? So this is a very simple example. I would like to come to Malaysia and work with the leaders. Whoever wants to be a champion has to be very passionate and lead it. Then I will work with the advocacy program in school, in tourism toilet, airport. Not good, KLIA airport is not very good. So we have to...
I have to agree with you, sorry. I absolutely agree with you. You compare against Changi, for instance, because you're Singaporean. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know in China, we started in 2004 when the toilet culture was horrible. And they were very urgently needing to improve because of the Olympics in 2008. So we have World Toilet Summit there. We mobilize all the tourism bureau in China to improve sanitation and public toilet. Today, if you go to China, every tourism toilet is like a Japanese cleanliness standard. So it's possible to change. You just need the political will. We have to find somebody to champion it in Malaysia, and we can go.
So this past 2 days that we've seen, and of course we just heard the opening statement coming in from the MD of Yayasan Hasanah, Dr. Shaira. They are talking about some of the social impact that it needs to be brought about. Philanthropy needs to be thought of in a sustainable manner, not just in the economic environment sustainable, but financially sustainable manner as well. How do you ensure that these kind of sustainable solutions, including one that is a going concern, people can see this being solved over a generation, can be achieved? Basically, what I'm asking you is, how has these past 2 days and today are going to reflect on how you're going to conduct your organization?
Yes. So when you want to price a service or solve a problem, you want to price the negative and positive externality. And the externality of not having toilet is you lost tourism income, you have poor morale in school, the student don't want to go to the toilet, they suppress urination until they go home, not good for their health. You have a poor image of the national pride and other people looking at you. You have pollution of river when you dump the waste into the river, and then you have sick people who drink water downstream and get into trouble.
Host of issues,
you have
dysentery and the likes.
Morbidity, mortality, and then you have also a loss of property prices, because in this kind of condition the prices never value. So if we can price the externality of public good and private good, every problem is profitable. However, if we only price the private good, then it may not be profitable. So for example, I'll give you an example, education. If you say we invest in the children and the parent never get any money back, maybe, you know, when they are old, they get like a few $100 from their children, but they never got the whole money back, right? Is that a bad investment? No. Education costs money, but no education costs even more money.
Yeah.
So sanitation costs money, but no sanitation costs even more money.
This kind of conversation we've seen in the healthcare service where active living, even though it may be expensive in the near term, it actually reduces healthcare bill of a country in the long run. We're looking at reducing comorbidity instances and prevalence in the society. We're also looking at a reduction of non-communicable diseases like diabetes and more. And this will definitely be cheaper for the healthcare bill for the country. Singapore, for instance, is the clearest example in terms of them giving a focus in lifelong improvements in terms of what you call positive and negative externality costing. Do you feel that we need to codify this, find some form of standardization in terms of how we need to put costing into externality? Is that the topic of the day?
Exactly. I'm now working with the Asian Development Bank to create a very simple app where we can take the data, put it onto the algorithm, and we can churn out what are the benefits of having toilet, having proper sanitation treatment, and what are the costs of doing nothing. And if we are able to make this very concise, politicians, they don't have much time. You go and tell them in a very simple summary, they get it. They're very intelligent. Then the bureaucrat can take over. So after this Asian Development Bank algorithm that we are creating now, we will be able to convince people. I'm meeting the Prime Minister of Mongolia end of this month, and they also have the same problem. So I think basically our World Toilet Organization movement is to make everyone aware that quality life, you have to have quality toilets. And toilet is, you cannot choose not to go, you know.
Yeah.
You go 6 to 8 times a day. You spend an entire 3 years of your life inside the toilet non-stop.
Yeah.
So if
Probably
you want
even more for me because I spend my morning hours
reading your newspaper.
Reading my newspaper. Well, we go for one short break. But you know, when you say that school children hold in their their toilet needs, I had to jump out of my school fence, go to the toilet at the private hospital that is located beside my school, go to the toilet, then jump back in. I'm not playing truant. I just need to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
These are my memories of high school, Prof. Anyway, we'll go for one short break. When we come back, we'll continue on our live coverage here at the Hasanah Forum AVPN Conferences 2023. We'll be right back after these messages. Thanks for staying on with us. This is Ibrahim Sani for AWANI. We are broadcasting live at the auspices of the Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre. We're in front of the ballroom where some of the keynote speeches are being given right now. And of course, ministerial speeches are the ones that we need to look for. One of the key speeches will definitely discuss on how this is going to cost the nation when it comes to impact investing, when it comes to social enterprises, and how we need to measure these kind of activities accurately and profitably. So these kind of conversations are carried forward on AWANI, where we speak to luminaries like the MD of Khazanah National, Dato Amirul Faisal. We spoke to Dato Shahirah, the boss of Yayasan Hasanah. We spoke to Tan Sri Jamilah. Many of these luminaries are being captured here, these conversations on AWANI, so do check that out. For now, joining us live is, of course, Professor Jack. Of course, we're talking about the World Toilet Organization. Your history is quite unique, quite frankly. Coming from Singapore, in an area or in an era where Singapore was still developing, and there's a lot of slum areas in Singapore. You did not have an education background, and you only started doing your post studies in your 50s or 40s.
56.
56, there you go, you graduated with your master's. Do you feel that life starts at 40, or do you feel that there is always a need for us to improve despite how we come about? Where do you feel that whole changing of improving our lives start? Is there an impetus for us to improve or better ourselves at any point in our life stage?
So basically, my philosophy is that life, you need to make some money to keep yourself alive. You have to pay bills. But you have to stop the moment you don't need any more money. Because the main thing we are spending is time, not money. So time is the real currency of life. Roughly a person have 80, 85 years and then he is gone. So when I was 40 years old, I saw that I have made some money from business and I retired because another 40 years to live is only 14,600 days. So I start to make a countdown and I calculate that every day is a precious day and I have to give it to service, because when you sell time to buy money, it's only when time is lower value. If your time is precious, priceless, you don't sell time to buy money. That's a loss-making business. So time for service is the highest exchange.
And this is what we're looking at, where we're looking at how we can provide value to the people that we are working with, living with, making money with, actually.
Yes.
And when we look at some of the events that is currently happening here at the AVPN conference, the Hasanah Forum, we're looking at how we can give back better for society.
Yes.
We look at the idea of some of the folks here that I've spoken to. They bring about better education and how to bring about or deliver a good quality education at a cheaper price, sustainably and financially sustainable as well. We're looking at the folks at Yayasan Hasanah, at Khazanah National. They're trying to invest in businesses that is giving value to the society. It seems like the idea of bringing social value and making money at the same time cannot be separated any longer. You can still derive value on making money from giving back to society.
Yes.
How has these past 2 days shaped your thinking when it comes to the folks speaking here?
I think that this meeting is a meeting of leaders, the top guns, the people who are high thought leader, and the networking here is amazing. Over the last 2 days, I have probably have to follow up on at least 8 or 9 serious leads and projects. One of the reasons, of course, is that toilet is related to everything, to children, to women, to menstruation, to hygiene, to health, to education,
Everything.
to shopping center. You know, just now we were talking about you jumping your fence to
the
hospital toilet.
Yeah.
You know, the shopping center, if the toilet are dirty, they lose a lot of customer, because the moment they need to go to the toilet, they go to the hotel next door, they go home, and they bring along their credit card and their cash.
Yeah.
So toilet is very, very profitable.
Yeah.
And the meeting here, the number of people from developing country to developed countries, every country has a sanitation and toilet problem.
We saw the Titanic submersible getting lost over the past 2-3 days now, and things are looking bleak. The first thought that comes to mind was, is there a toilet inside that submersible? However macabre that thinking is, that was the first thing that I thought of. When you have 5 people trapped in a submersible, do they have an access to go out? You know, generally speaking. So that's how, toilet is actually at the forefront of conversation. Okay, to wrap things up in terms of the conversation this morning, do you feel that a lot of philanthropic businesses are now trying to invest more in toilet? We saw a very highly publicized machine by Bill Gates, where on one end there's a toilet, on the other end it's clean water, and hopefully it can be resolved or can be deployed in a cheap way to the various poorest parts of the world. Do you feel that the Gates Foundation, for instance, or any other foundations for that matter, are doing enough when it comes to solving the issues of toilet?
The problem is very large. We are playing at billion impact level. So the technology part from Gates Foundation so far has still been too expensive. You cannot ask a poor family living in Uttar Pradesh or somewhere in Kibera slum in Kenya to spend $3,000. They don't have. If you ask them to spend $300, it's already very, very difficult. It's like buying a car, you know. So they, when we want to solve problem, we cannot start to say, technology is first. We have to start listening to the aspiration of the people. Then we build the solution around it for them. And I think that in philanthropy, listening is very, very key. You see a lot of philanthropic money go to where? Big institution, famous institution. The National University of Singapore has more money than they will ever need.
Yeah,
but more people are donating money. So the small little NGO that are working very hard, they don't get. Because the philanthropist wants the clout, the prestige. And I would like to advise that if you do philanthropy, do it for the good of the people and help everyone that can come together and not just a very big chunk of money to institutions that already have a lot of money.
I'm a skeptic. As a person, I am a huge skeptic. I feel that philanthropy is only workable if there's a tax incentive involved or there's a financial incentive involved. And based on data, my skepticism is proven correct. Do you feel that governments have to appeal to the philanthropy through this channel, i.e. provide them more financial incentives so that more money can be spread out to concerned efforts like toilet right now? Is there a room to grow for companies to actually improve on this?
You see, philanthropy is a very small part of the solution. If you add up all the philanthropy in the world, it's not very much. But you take the foreign aid, it's quite a lot. But the biggest amount of money invested in poverty alleviation has to be public policy. Has to be working at government policy level, which is why the World Toilet Organization talk to prime minister, ministers, mayor, governors. And when you work at policy level, the change is big. I cannot go around fundraising, building 500 toilet here and 1,000 toilet there. It will never scale. You want to scale? Influence policymaker and make them understand. So they understand in two levels. One is their job level, delivering public good. The other one is their popularity. So if we can help them win election, promising people toilet, like Prime Minister Modi won landslide victory 2 times with promise for toilet, and he built 110 million toilet. This alignment of political will, political reward, and policy change, I think that is very, very big. And if we invest in policy influence, we can have very big impact.
Sorry, that's a fantastic way of putting things in order. Okay, final day of AVPN conference. What are you looking for?
Looking forward to meet the Prime Minister. He's coming here to give a speech. This is like a big highlight. And I think that when such people bless a conference and a group of people like this, our work also become legitimized. You see, we don't have many days each. I just want to show you my countdown clock on my phone. This is 5,005 days more before I die on my 80th birthday, budgeted at 11 p.m.
Okay.
So if a person have 80 good years, every day is a precious day for service.
And it also creates the urgency of you having to get things done.
Yes.
When you have a deadline, it always works. I'm a journalist.
Yes. If you
only work on the deadline.
Yes. If you think I'm going to live till very long time, but you don't talk about it, you will never treasure your life. So you confront it, and I make a countdown. And now if I have 5,005 days, every day is urgent, every day is precious. Have good relationship with your family, with yourself, with your community, with the world.
Well, I have to say, this is a life-changing conversation. I interview people daily, but not many have a very terminal kind of end date in terms of service to community. So, yeah, thank you very much for sharing your ideas and especially your calendar there. That was our conversation with Professor Dr. Jack Sim, the founder and director of World Toilet Day, World Toilet Organization. World Toilet Day is celebrated every November 19th. Do check that out. Toilet is, of course, a concern for everyone, so do share your thoughts on this topic as well. We continue to bring to you some of the key developments and key highlights that is currently happening here at the Hasanah Forum AVPN Conference 2023. My name is Ibrahim Sani. Catch you in the next... Oh, before I send you off, do watch the interview that I did with the Managing Director of Kerajaan Nasional tonight at 10:30 p.m. On my show Notepad, where we talk about impact investing, Dana Impact, the fund that Kerajaan Nasional is being done, and of course the trifecta of how NGOs, social enterprises, and impact investments or impact investors are going to create a wholesome ecosystem for us to deliver social value for all of us. Those are the conversations that's going to happen tonight at 10:30 p.m. Okay, I'm done. Catch you in the next one. Continue to stay with us at Astro AWANI.